Hello YouTube. We're going to be talking about the most recent patch that just came out today, labeled Another Cog in the Machine. We're going to talk about some of the changes here to the meta, some of the things that are going to be affecting possibly pro level play, as well as play throughout all of the ranks, as well as some of the cool stuff in this patch, namely the MLC Scylla skin, which is really cool. Just talk about it for a little bit. So, looking at the start here, we got some new skins, cool. The biggest one obviously is Cog Scylla. Cog Scylla is decked out in all cog gear. The player card is a Scylla at a keyboard and a mouse playing, looking really aggressive. When you use your ultimate or your circle, it leaves a cog in the floor burnt in, kind of like how the TSM Apollo does on the ultimate for Apollo. Really cool skin, really awesome. All of the dogs have dog tags around their neck, and they have the names of the players on it, you know, Barracuda, Hinla, whatever. All super cool stuff in that skin, super awesome for them. Moving onward, a couple other stuff, nothing that matters here. Big change to the UI, fantastic. Everybody's been complaining about the UI lately, and rightfully so. There's been a lot of problems, and Hi-Rez has heard, and of course they've gone in and they've fixed a bunch of stuff. Presumably there will be more problems that come from fixing problems, but it's definitely a step in the right direction to fix all of this crazy nonsense that's been happening with the UI. So it's really good that they're getting taking care of that. Also fixing some of the problems with the chat. Biggest thing for me is when you select to message a player, the input field will autofocus. I don't know how many times I meant to send a message to Jeff Hinla, and it sent it to some random person who had sent me a whisper, and they were like, "Thanks for whispering me back, but that doesn't make any sense." And I was like, "I didn't mean to send that to you." And they're like, "Oh," and then like sad faced, and I'm like, "No, like it's okay, like I'll still talk to you." And they're like, "No, it's okay." And then they leave, and you're like, it's a whole thing, and it's just like, I just wanted to send a message to Jeff Hinla. You know, I just wanted to queue them. So that's great that they're finally fixing that. They introduced a consistent skin tier now. Basically, if it meets these qualifications, it's going to be X amount of gems or X amount of favor, whatever the case may be. That's really nice. That way, no matter what skin is coming out, you can always just go, oh, this is a tier 3 skin. I know it's going to be 400 gems. So you don't have to be worrying like, oh, is it going to be a 600 gem skin? So that's pretty nice to have consistency with that. Big thing for me, Gold Fury and Fire Giant are now spawning at exactly 5 minutes from their death. So you can hit them maybe during their spawn animations. Maybe they took the spawn animations away. I don't know yet. Either way, they're going to be hittable. And so instead of the Gold Fury, you know, walking around for like 3 more minutes up in the sky while she's climbing down her podium or whatever, apparently we're going to be able to just smack her, which will be really nice because that's really annoying. So I'm really glad that's getting fixed. A couple of changes to items. 2 big ones here. Bluestone Pendant, regeneration from 4% of missing to 3%. Will that be huge? No. Will it be groundbreaking? No. Will it be nice? Yes. As far as us characters who do not play necessarily hunters, this will be nice. If you play a hunter, you're like, why did you do this? I liked having this 4% mana on top of my MP5. Probably still going to be picking up Bluestone Pendant on hunters. It's still going to be nice. There is no blue buff still, so you're still going to need the mana regen. It's just not going to be as strong. Probably going to hurt a character like Woojer more than anybody else. Another interesting change for Guardians, as they said, Watcher's Gift was not competing as much with other options. So they added MP5 to Watcher's Gift, which is huge. And they also added Jungle Camps now trigger the passive for the extra gold, health, mana, whatever. That's actually really important, especially now with how much supports are doing the Jungle Camps. You're doing your red buff, your back harpies, your purple buff a lot throughout the game. You're getting the mid camps throughout the game. This is going to be a decent bit of gold. Not so much gold as much as it is regeneration on top of the MP5. It's going to fix a lot of mana problems on a lot of characters. Sobek will probably be getting more play. You're going to see Bacchus getting more play, and for another reason, Bacchus is going to be getting more play. Those 2 characters I can think of mainly that have a lot of mana problems that are definitely going to be affected positively by this. Into our God and Balance updates. Really what we're talking about here for pro level play. AMC, nothing, who cares. Outcoin, nothing, who cares. First big one that I think is going to be possibly too strong. Alright, we're going to get right into this. Anher, as everybody knows right now, is very weak in terms of picking. He's not being picked almost at all, and if he is, it's counter picking against maybe a character like Artemis because he can counter Herald. But they're going to make it so the Impale no longer takes reduced damage after the first target hit. That means Anher's lane clear is going to be amazing compared to pretty much every other hunter. If you can imagine Impale like it used to, well, now that's what it's back to for clearing the wave, which means he's going to be gnarly for clearing the wave. Will that make him a top pick? We're going to have to see. But if he can clear the wave as fast as I can remember him clearing the wave, he's going to be all over you all game, which means he's going to get the early control, you're going to get the early mid harpies, you're going to get a lot of early pressure, so he could be back on the top. We will have to see, though. Willick's getting a buff. Did she need a buff? I don't think so, but we're going to go ahead and talk about it anyway. Apparently, Suku can become invisible. I don't know, I don't play a Willick's. But they're increasing her base health by 25, increasing her health scaling by 2. Are those big changes? Not really. Moonlight charge, damage increased just a little bit, not a whole lot, looks like by 20 each rank. These aren't that much of a change. Will it make her a little bit more viable? I guess. I mean, she's getting a slight change. If you weren't going to pick her already, you're not going to pick her now. If you were already picking her for a reason, then you're probably still going to pick her for that same reason, and she just happens to have 20 more hit points. If you live with 20 hit points, thank high-res. If you don't, wish you had 20 more. That's basically the Willick situation. Bacchus, just getting some nonsense done to him. Bacchusura, that is. Bacchus now has some nice changes. So, one of the changes I have been asking for so long, and it is here, is Bacchus is now knock-up immune while channeling his burp. Finally, you cannot be knocked up in the burp. It might actually be used for lane clear. Fantastic. Another interesting change is they wanted to help with his mana consumption problem, and so they made Drunkometer from 22 at rank 1 to 33. That is a huge increase in terms of how much you get, and then from 28 to 35, stuff like that. Really, it's all about that rank 1 change. Rank 1 really doing a lot now. Now there's really almost no reason to level up Chug until, I mean, we're leveling up to last anyway, but Tier 1 Chug giving you a lot of your Drunkometer. The knock-up immunity on your Belcher the God, very strong against a character like Geb, who could knock you up. And now that Watcher's Gift could be back in the meta, and it's giving you MP5, that can clear up some of Bacchus' mana problems as well. Bacchus could be back in the meta. Will he be a #1 pick? I don't see him being #1 pick over Athena Sylvanas. No nerfs to either of those characters. Both of them very strong for everything that they do. But I do think this will move up Bacchus right to that bottom tier of like below Athena Sylvanas, kind of where Geb sits. You know, you're like, oh, if Athena Sylvanas open, oh, we're picking one of those two. But if they're not open, you're like, well, let's pick Geb. Now you might say, let's pick Bacchus, because Bacchus is going to outlane clear Geb because he can't be knocked up in his Belcher the God, which is going to be interesting. So if you pick Geb now, you're going to get countered by a Bacchus. That's how it's going to go. Bellona getting nerfed. We all knew this was coming. She was way too OP, way too strong. Everything about it was too good. Her passive getting nerfed. Movement speed from 6 per stack to 3. That's amazing. Protection from 5 to 4. Duration reduced from 5 to 4. Fantastic. Get rid of that stupid passive. It was OP. Her bludgeon on her basic attacks now don't do 100% lifesteal. That was silly. Probably just a bug to begin with. And most importantly for me, her healing reduced on her 3 from nonsense 110 at max rank to 70. 70 still strong. Not as bad as 110. Also, the scaling definitely kicked down a notch. Was 70 at rank 3, now it's 70 at max rank, which is a big difference for her. She won't be able to snowball nearly as hard anymore. Kabrakan getting a nice change, actually. Will it put him in the meta? No. Will it be nice for when I troll Kabrakan games? Totally. When you use your Seismic Crush, the basic attack movement penalty while making basic attacks no longer is in effect. So you won't be like doing this for 12 years trying to hit somebody because you're like one space short. That'll be really nice for him in terms of like quality of life, but like it's not gonna break or you know, make his meta kind of thing. Then there are bug fixes. Hello, bug fixes. Hoo ye, just getting some stuff done. Kumakarna gets a little buff. Is it going to put him in the meta? I think not at all. I still think Kumakarna is one of the weakest supports. Radius increased on his metas from 20 to 25, basically 25 back where he used to be. A very large area. It still is a soft CC. He still is bad in the laning phase. His mid game is still his best part, and then his end game is kind of mediocre. Just not strong enough, in my opinion, to compete yet. But who knows? Maybe somebody can play him really well and brings him back into the meta, and we'll have to bring him back. I guess we're going to find out. Nox getting a ginormous buff that I don't think she needed, honestly. Just because people aren't playing her doesn't mean she's not good. Characters fall out of the meta. That's what happens. You don't need to bring her back with a 2-second silence at all ranks, period. At level 1, you can have a 2-second silence. That's not good. Anybody hasn't clicked with anybody yet? A 2-second silence. Can you imagine? It's going to be disgusting. I hope people don't pick up Nox again. She was annoying to go against. She's still annoying to go against. A 2-second silence at all ranks, and she's going to be CC immune during the casting of her ult, so you can't interrupt her during that channeling phase. Now, I think Nox is going to be really strong. I'm going to be yelling at Kiki to get right on that Nox. Odin getting a buff. Odin did not need this buff. What he did need was the bug fix to his ultimate. Ring of Spears, fix the spears causing resistance when friendlies were moving past. If you saw us in the tournament games against Denial a couple of times, I was stuck outside of the ring on Sylvanas trying to get in to help my team to do my ultimate, and I could not get inside a friendly cage because his ultimate was bugged. It was very unfortunate. Luckily, things worked out okay. On top of that, he's getting 10% plus more physical scaling on his Bird Bomb. That's going to... Honestly, Odin does a lot of damage with Bird Bomb right now. This just means his mid game is getting even stronger with the increased scaling. When he finishes his Boots, Jotun's Wrath combo and gets that, 80 physical power, plus the cooldown, plus the penetration, Bird Bomb is going to hit you so hard. It already hit you for 50% of your health. Now you're going to be losing 60% of your health. Just throwing right off the top that he's going to be back in the meta, honestly, I think, with these fixes and the buff. And I don't want him back in the meta unless Weaken's playing him because he's really strong and I don't want anybody to know. So as far as everybody else, no real other big changes. Besides Shibalanke, they reduced his base attack speed from 1 to 0.95. Shibalanke, obviously, everybody knew was very strong. I got a pentakill on Shibalanke a couple weeks ago. I should not be getting pentakills. I don't play ADC. Shibalanke was just too strong if he snowballed. So they took some of that away. And that's the end of the patch notes for the day, guys. Hope you enjoyed my opinions on what's going to happen here in this upcoming patch. Biggest thing for us right here is Bacchus. Bacchus could be back, guys. That's pretty exciting. If you like what I do here, guys, please subscribe to me on YouTube. And, of course, you can always follow me on Twitch TV/Runzelman or mm_Incon on Twitter. And, as always, have a twitching day, y'all.